This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where we read a few pages of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and then we discuss. Today we'll be reading from pages 175 to 177, according to the book I'm reading from. It is the beginning of a new chapter, my personal favorite, but a necessary chapter. And in the comment section, here is a copy of the PDF to read along. For those watching the replay, once I begin, you should be able to find your place in the book. Let's get started. Chapter 10, Power of the Mastermind, the driving force, the 9th step toward riches. Power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. Plans are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them into action. This chapter will describe the method by which an individual may attain and apply power. Power may be defined as organized and intelligently directed knowledge. Power, as the term is here used, refers to organized effort, sufficient to enable an individual to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent. Organized effort is produced through the coordination of effort of two or more people who work toward a definite end in a spirit of harmony. Power is required for the accumulation of money. Power is necessary for the retention of money after it has been accumulated. Let us ascertain how power may be acquired. If power is organized knowledge, let us examine the sources of knowledge. 1. A. Infinite intelligence. This source of knowledge may be contacted through the procedure described in another chapter with the aid of creative imagination. B. Accumulated experience. The accumulated experience of man, or that portion of it which has been organized and recorded, may be found in any well-equipped public library. An important part of this accumulated experience is taught in public schools and colleges where it has been classified and organized. C. Experiment and research. In the field of science and in practically every walk of life, men are gathering, classifying, and organizing new facts daily. This is the source to which one must turn when knowledge is not available through accumulated experience. Here, too, the creative imagination must often be used. Knowledge may be acquired from any of the foregoing sources. It may be converted into power by organizing it into definite plans and by expressing those plans in terms of action. Examination of the three major sources of knowledge will readily disclose the difficulty an individual would have if he depended upon his efforts alone in assembling knowledge and expressing it through definite plans in terms of action. If his plans are comprehensive and if they contemplate large proportions, he must generally induce others to cooperate with him before he can inject into them the necessary element of power. Gaining power through the mastermind. The mastermind may be defined as coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. No individual may have great power without availing himself of the mastermind. In a preceding chapter, instructions were given for the creation of plans for the purpose of translating desire into its monetary equivalent. If you carry out these instructions with persistence and intelligence and use discrimination in the selection of your mastermind group, your objective will have been halfway reached, even before you begin to recognize it. So you may better understand the intangible potentialities of power available to you through a properly chosen mastermind group. We will here explain the two characteristics of the mastermind principle, one of which is economic in nature and the other psychic. The economic feature is obvious. Economic advantages may be created by any person who surrounds himself with the advice, counsel, and personal cooperation of a group of men who are willing to lend him wholehearted aid in a spirit of perfect harmony. This form of cooperative alliance has been the basis of nearly every great fortune. Your understanding of this great truth may definitely determine your financial status. The psychic phase of the mastermind principle is much more abstract, much more difficult to comprehend, because it has reference to the spiritual forces with which the human race as a whole is not well acquainted. You may catch a significant suggestion from this statement. No two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force which may be likened to a third mind. Keep in mind the fact that there are only two known elements in the whole universe, energy and matter. It is a well-known fact that matter may be broken down into units of molecules, atoms, and electrons. There are units of matter which may be isolated, separated, and analyzed. Likewise, there are units of energy. The human mind is a form of energy, a part of it being spiritual in nature. When the minds of two people are coordinated in a spirit of harmony, the spiritual units of energy of each mind form an affinity, which constitutes the psychic phase of the mastermind. The mastermind principle, or rather the economic feature of it, was first called to my attention by Andrew Carnegie over 25 years ago. Discovery of this principle was responsible for the choice of my life's work. Mr. Carnegie's Mastermind Group consisted of a staff of approximately 50 men, with whom he surrounded himself for the definite purpose of manufacturing and marketing steel. He attributed his entire fortune to the power he accumulated through this mastermind. Analyze the record of any man who has accumulated a great fortune and many of those who have accumulated modest fortunes, and you will find that they have either consciously or unconsciously employed the mastermind principle. Great power can be accumulated through no other principle. Energy is nature's universal set of building blocks, out of which she constructs every material thing in the universe, including man and every form of animal and vegetable life. Through a process which only nature completely understands, she translates energy into matter. Nature's building blocks are available to man in the energy involved in thinking. Man's brain may be compared to an electric battery. It absorbs energy from the ether, which permeates every atom of matter and fills the entire universe. It is a well-known fact that a group of electric batteries will provide more energy than a single battery. It is also a well-known fact that an individual battery will provide energy in proportion to the number and capacity of the cells it contains. The brain functions in a similar fashion. This accounts for the fact that some brains are more efficient than others and leads to this significant statement. A group of brains coordinated or connected in a spirit of harmony will provide more thought energy than a single brain, just as a group of electric batteries will provide more energy than a single battery. Through this metaphor, it becomes immediately obvious that the mastermind principle holds the secret of the power wielded by men who surround themselves with other men of brains. There follows now another statement which will lead still nearer to an understanding of the psychic phase of the mastermind principle. When a group of individual brains are coordinated and function in harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual brain in the group. I will stop there. I'm going to stop there. Good stuff. Yes, powerful, Monty. So welcome to the room. I assume it's Hamad and Zengevity. Good to see you here. Yes, Marquetta. Good stuff. Good stuff. Sean, good to see you here. Glad you could make it. And Matt, always good to see you. What's interesting, Monty, is when they described the 50 that were of his mastermind, how many were part of the staff and how many were those he met with regularly, like outside the staff of people. So employees versus employees or peers that were hired to participate in the growth of the company. And I believe he also had those he met with regularly. I just get that impression. Good morning, fellas. Hi, Rocco. Hi, Omar.
Good morning.
Hey, Rocco. What's up? What do you think?
Hey, I love this this chapter that you shared with us today. I have been able to develop about 10,000 fans, and 1,000 of them are dedicated, like personal, like relationships that I've built. But I have trouble putting together a mastermind. I don't know whether it's some inner child stuff or whether it's a difficulty of releasing control or faith and trust. So I was wondering if y'all can impart like some sort of suggestions and how I could develop more masterminds, so that way I can build with them and develop relationships where I can maximize my opportunity and increase my potential.
As the leader and moderator of multiple mastermind groups, I come from the view that the smaller the group, the better.
Okay.
And with a focus on each individual member participating and getting what they need from that third mind that develops from the group. So that's my view. I have openings, by the way. I'll be posting a link later on to the mastermind groups that I have. But that's the way I'm looking at it.
Okay.
But of course, there's so much more to it.
If you can forward like maybe a link or any like literature that I could read up on, so that way I can learn how to make more masterminds. That's one thing I really want to learn how to do, is develop better masterminds or moderate them.
So I'm putting together an online course.
Cool.
Oui.
And honestly, Rocco, come see me. I'm going to need somebody to beta test it.
Okay.
To go through it and let me know what's missing. Ask the questions so that I can add that info to it, and you'll learn and I'll improve, and then I'll have something quality to offer to others. I'd love to have you be a beta tester.
I will be your guinea pig.
Okay, guinea pigs unite. I think we have another one with you. We got Sean with you. All right, so I've got my first group. Outstanding.
All right, I'm going to let somebody else in.
Thanks, Rocco.
Thank you.
Let's see here. You can go to my profile, and there's ways to contact me through my profile, and the link in there also can get you to me. Omar, welcome.
Good morning. How do I sound? I got a new headpiece here.
Yes, you sound awesome.
Great, thank you. I am
wonderful
awesome.
Low voices coming through to me. Any smoother and you'd be a Barry White, and then we'd all be in trouble.
I can be. Hey, check this out though. Good morning, everybody else. Matt and Rocco sounded good this morning too. He did not have that wind blowing through.
Yes, may I say right now that we so appreciate, Rocco, you being in a quiet place,
on the beach.
because we love what you have to say, and the times you're outside interferes with your ability to tell us everything and for us to understand everything. So just want you to know that.
I think though he's in his zone, because I might be calling in from the tree. I might be 60 foot up in the tree and say, "Hey, Charlene," but what I'll do is have my
don't do that to me.
oh yeah, you know why? You know why? Because I'm a little shy on the ground, but when I'm in that tree, I feel invincible. Because as we talked about, when I get scared, and we talked about here the prayer. And I see why that is your favorite chapter, because now out of all the book that I read, I think that was the chapter I remember the most. It resonated so deeply, right? And the part that you said that prayer is like a connection, a battery, that we need each other. And when we have a collective prayer, we're even more powerful than a single battery. Durcells, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
And what I think is that, like I said, when I'm up in the tree, I'm the master there. I don't know nothing about internet stuff, but up in the tree, and I get scared. I get scared. But what I do is I make sure I say, okay, I stop and I say, "Oh God, why am I up here in this tree? What to do? Tell me what to do. What to do? Help me, and
tap into it.
I feel that I tap into divine infinite consciousness. And then all of a sudden I feel the angels and all the collective minds come together and says, "Omar, you got this. Just tie the rope, cut the thing. It's going to fall perfectly." And, and even though I may have tied the rope a little too far out for the angles. See, everything has got to be perfect angles and vectors, because I'm a city tree man. So I have to bring this big, massive tree down in like a 10-foot drop zone without tearing up gutters and wires and stuff, right? And so when I do that, now my ego might say, oh, it's okay, you don't have to do that. But then I say, no, it says tie it a little bit higher. So I have to climb back up there and retie it and come down and make the cut. And sure enough, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I did that. Although there has been times that I didn't do that. Okay. And it didn't make it.
So have you taken advantage of being with a group that you feel that infinite intelligence at work, that you feel that another level that you suddenly go to, or where the sparking happens in your own mind of the creativity of seeing something different, and suddenly you're adding to the group and it becomes an experience that is tapping into this other energy? Have you had that?
Only a couple times, and that's been my biggest flaw, because I've tapped into, I'm not trying to be egotistical here, but I read the book when I was 19, and after finding out that book, and I say, oh, these are the secrets. Mastermind is the way. That is not just me. I need others. It describes the link with this here higher consciousness, and then we become as one. And, so I've started several tree companies, Ways Tree Service, Shiva Tree Service, several tree services in the service. But, and I'm saying, hey, I want all you guys to have this, what I have, or even more. It's like, let us collect our minds, and we can go for more than just, a couple thousand a day. Let's go for a couple million. We can go, the tree industry is the largest industry. Hey, you got to keep me calm here, trying to slow down. I've been a little too hyped yet.
Okay.
So I'm cooling down.
Bring it down.
So let me know. Give me a single. Set me up or whatever.
That's a good point. You're now into 2 or 3 other topics. So take a breath. Take a breath. And I want to know if you have ever been formally, and I say this on purpose, what we have right now and what we are doing is often referred to as a mastermind. We're doing an intense study of a book of principles, taking each principle and sharing our own knowledge, experience, perspective, questions with each other. Through that, we're in our sharing, those who are in tune with and a part of the conversation, whether physically as in live stream or the comment section, we're benefiting from the extra that is happening. So this is a casual gathering. Formal is one that you've either paid to be a part of or have been invited to be a part of, and you're committed to attending on a regular basis. And your focus is not only getting something from the group, but you want to be an active participant and are interested in the success of the other people in the group. And it's their determination of what that success is that you're participating. And it's usually business related. The ones I'm familiar with and a part of are business related. You're interested in helping them be successful with what they bring to the group. So I want to throw that out there. Just wondering if you have been.
Open a lot of doors. Let me close them up real quick. Okay. Okay. So the answer is yes, a couple. I've a couple. But what happens with me is they get a little bit of this stuff and they go out, they form their own tree companies, and they're gone, except one guy. And so, no, I haven't been a part of a formal mastermind group. Is that a invitation?
I'm happy to invite you to one of my mastermind groups.
I want the guinea pig. I want to be your guinea pig.
Oh, no, that's different. Oh. No, the guinea pig is, and I've only got room for a couple. And right now, Sean Michael and Rocco have presented themselves. I'm creating an online course on how to set up, manage, and market your own mastermind group. According to the way that I do it, which has been successful, that works, and I get great kudos and accolades and everybody. I've been doing it since 2009. Accolades from people who have participated in them. And so I'm doing that. In the meantime, you are invited to check out, talk with me privately, anybody here, talk with me privately about the current groups I have going. I have one starting in November, and talk about what that looks like. That's a formal, structured, fee-based group, and I recently took it public in September, and the first group filled up within weeks with no marketing. So I know there's a need out there. So
yeah, so I'm going to be too busy cutting down some trees so I can get some money, and I'll see you in about a month, okay?
Fully
Thanks a
understand
lot.
that.
All right, thanks.
So there's my email address. Shoot me an email. Connect with me on Skype. Anybody here, if you're interested in just connecting and finding out more, you know, my ID on Skype is Fast Info Pro, and let's have a conversation and see what it looks like, because I have groups forming over the next few months. Excellent, Rocco. I'll respond to you and we'll set this up, have a conversation to go. So anyway, hi, Matt. Welcome, Matt.
Hello.
Welcome. What do you think of the mastermind principle, tapping into infinite intelligence, and my personal favorite, he didn't know about quantum mechanics and quantum physics, but he described it without knowing it.
Definitely described it. One of the sections I was focusing on was the I hopped in like in the middle of when you were reading experiment and research, so I just went up a little bit. Okay. And this idea of when two people come together and they're using he says nature's building blocks are available to man in the energy involved in thinking, which is absolutely right. Like our brains are tools for understanding. But one of the things that I think is really important though is the difference in types of power. Like in this situation, when you have two people come together and they trust one another and they trust the universe and they want to work together as one mind, there is a tool of like economic power there, which is ingrained in right now in reality, and using that economic value and creating, and it's synergy basically. And then there's also the organic power in that, which is more of the higher ether, trusting the universe power, where you're not fighting everybody and resisting everything, and you're cooperating and trusting one another. So that's sort of what I was thinking about as we were reading about how the mastermind groups work together as one whole, because they're already all human beings. So that accumulated energy and organic power works together instead of too much ego noise, too much, if two egos come together and they're both egos and they both want power to be accumulated in means of economic power and not so much like trusting everybody, because some groups only trust one another inside the group and then they hate everything else and resist everything else around them. So that's a path that's more about political power in terms of an ego way than is a being way, which is, I think, the correct way of looking at that.
Excellent point. And one that doesn't work well in the groups that I put together, but I have seen what you've described. And even though we're all, but see, they're still coming together for the same purpose. It's just egocentric. They want the ego wanting the power in a negative form of what I prefer my power to be. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Like definitely agree with there. And the accumulated experience, I saw this video that talks about how knowledge is not understanding. You can have the knowledge, but if like he said, the accumulated experience of man, and then the section above where it says that organized and intelligently directing knowledge, directing the application of knowledge, that takes awareness. That does not take the brain all the time, because
Exactly.
You're the silent warrior. Yeah.
Now this is where I'm going to come in with why my preference. This is what I have seen happen. People have gathered together for short-term mastermind in a casual setting. People have gathered together in a formal setting for a longer term. Those that fail, meaning the formal group has failed, is lack of leadership. Because sometimes what can happen is that they gather together. I was just in a conversation with somebody who's this happened to. They've been a member of this group for 5 years, and they traded off the leadership on a rotating basis in an effort to be fully democratic, which means that for the past year and a half, out of that 5 years, it has devolved into a social group. And then occasionally they think, oh, we really need to talk about business, don't we? And it's because there isn't somebody who's willing to step up and say that I will make sure that everybody's moderated, that everybody has their turn, that we have a little bit of structure here and we stick with the structure, and that they will listen to. Because, of course, there are some leaders elected or selected that people don't listen to. When that happens, you need to get them out of there and have somebody else, because the really long-term mastermind groups, which I'm seeing out of Napoleon Hill in this book, the ones that help Ford, Edison, Carnegie become the millionaires, also known as billionaires in our world today, become who they are, offering the services and product that they offer, are the ones that are focused, and the leadership is there to keep them focused.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
You have to have somebody has to own it, and there has to be enough awareness created within that group to all get together and discuss things and be on the same mindset, be on the same
wavelength.
status, the same wavelength. That's another universe term, be on the same wavelength, because if people are trading positions and words aren't being spoken, you're not communicating, there's a lot of that ego noise and thinking noise in the air, and you can't see through all that. So,
well, it's also my experience that's a reason why some people won't join a mastermind, is because they're not the one in charge.
Yeah, and that's an ego thing. They get defensive if they can't control the situation. That's a trust issue.
Correct.
Right, I'm going to head out now.
Good stuff. Thanks, Matt. Always good to have you here. Chuck, do you have audio?
I do.
Wow, you do. Fantastic.
Once I turned off the cookies, there was this in
Those
Chrome.
dark
There's
cookies.
there was a cookie with an X on it for the longest time, and until I could figure out how to actually get rid of that, then my audio came back. But I know that this is your favorite part of the book. And
it is.
for the everybody.
Just so you know, it's because it taps into my need to have collaboration, to be a part of something bigger than me, but also to lead a group towards good stuff, that sort of thing.
Well, I tell you what.
But there's my ego involved.
For anybody that listens to this, hears this now and in the future, everybody, and I say this all the time, everybody wants to win.
Yes.
And this is the key to winning. So anybody who gets on here and says, there's a lot of theory and you can talk about egos and mind maps. This is how you win. This is you don't know what you don't know. And somebody's going to have a unique life experience that they just pop in and say, what if? And then if they, give you the added benefit of saying, hey, Eric, I thought you said you were going to do this or that. And instead of going fishing, then
they will do that.
Then what ends up happening is there puts some social pressure on it. And, you want to maintain your value in the group because you're trusted friends. And what happens is all of a sudden the ball starts rolling and it gets easier and easier to become more and more successful. And I think you can see that all the time. So anybody you hear the buzzword mastermind group all the time and people wonder what it is, but don't want to get involved. Well, what I can say is this is how you win. Charlene's right. This is how you get to where you want to go a little easier.
Yeah, it's how you get things done. It's how you get focused on your direction. I have had my feet held to the fire. The group has given me the ever so gentle, because it's virtual, slap on the wrist. And we've been together long enough. Now, this is me as a participant, that I don't want to be kicked out of the group. Because you see, they're in a formal group, there's always that, we might not want you here. If you are the anchor and you're not participating and you are constantly fighting us, we don't have time for that. So, and I can share with you as a leader of a group, the one that's actually been ongoing since 2009, I was approached by the group members to please remove somebody because of that. It's like, you're draining us. It's not, I can't grow if you're not growing. We become very important to each other. So absolutely.
Yeah, I think.
Absolutely. Hi, Eric. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Charlene. Good morning, Chuck. Chuck, it sounds like you've been part of my mastermind group. How did you know that I run off and go fishing?
Uh-oh.
No.
Called out.
Yeah. So what, Chuck, what you're saying actually is so true. I've been fortunate that I've had a two-person mastermind group with a best friend of mine, a college friend. We've remained friends and have done business together. And first point I'd like to make is it doesn't need to be 7 people. It doesn't need to be 4 people. In my experience, I've had remarkable results with just one person. The second thing, and to Chuck, very much to your point, is the consistency. Now, in this particular situation, since there is just two of us, it is, I guess, easier to be accountable, because when you have many people, life comes up, and to get 7 people to meet on a regular basis, just sometimes life interferes, and maybe there's 5 or something like that. But on this particular mastermind group, we don't even call it a mastermind formally, but it's just something that we do every week, and I'm the beneficiary of his discipline. He has a travel schedule with his work that takes him, to Europe and Asia very, very regularly, and I can't tell you how many times he is phoning in from. I remember this one time on a train, from the airport in Japan, on some ungodly hour because of the time difference. But, would I have done that? I'd like to say yes. But what I'm saying is, I'm the beneficiary of his strength, that we have this, once a week at such and such a time, and he is there. I would say in the years that we've been doing it, it's maybe we've missed literally on one hand. I could count the amount of times. The next point I'd like to make, Charlene, you talk about kind of the third mind, and it's what's so fun about these discussions that we have every week, and they are business directed, but sometimes it's just we dedicate about an hour to it. Sometimes it's just the somewhat random things that come up through the course of discussion, that you go into this meeting without much of an agenda, and about halfway through, about halfway through, you just go, wow, was this valuable? Because of this one nugget that neither one of us anticipated, that just surfaced during the conversation. It just came in out of left field. So, and then the last thing I'll say is, and then I'll jump on out of here, because I'm just taking care of a few things this morning. But to me, I think critical step number 1 is picking the right person or right people. If you try to put together a mastermind group and it's with the wrong person or the wrong people, I've been part of those. And by right, it doesn't mean literally right or wrong, just the right or wrong fit, maybe the right or wrong personalities. I've heard some things about egos and so forth like that. I think there's got to be a healthy ego in there, where people are receptive to feedback, to quote unquote criticism, but at the same time have, kind of a driving ambition where they want to help themselves and help the others. And I think, getting people into the mastermind group that don't fit that mold is, it's tough to make it work with the wrong people, has been my experience. I don't know if that's been your guys' experience, but it's been mine.
It is. And I'd like to respond to that only because I have experience in that. One of the reasons why I don't have a website set up where you can just pay your way into a mastermind group is because I believe it's important for the health of the group that every individual be vetted before they're a part of the group. They have to go through me first. And honestly, one of the reasons is if I am the moderator leader, I got to be able to keep you in line. I've got to have something in sync with you. All right. So if I'm seeing that you're going to be abrasive, you're going to be a steamroller, that you're going to really make me work hard, I take that into consideration. That doesn't mean you get a no. It's just taking that into consideration, because the second thing is the health of the group. What other personalities are in there? How do you interact with others? So there is an interview process. It's painless. It really is. No, and I don't give you an outright no. Instead, I say, I don't know that you're actually a good fit for the group that I'm putting together right now. But that doesn't mean if you're interested in holding off for just a couple weeks, there are other people that are coming into a different group you may be a better fit for, because it's all about the success of the individuals in the group. So that's the way I'm approaching and always have approached the groups that I put together. So far, so good. Having said that, there's always that disclaimer that you can be removed. and it takes, and it's outlined, and you know what you're getting. The expectations are set up front. So like the one I've had to rein people in, and I've been approached to remove somebody, and it's been done. So again, for the health of the group, just putting it out there that it does happen. It does happen. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Eric.
Hey, you bet.
Anybody else want to jump in? Hi.
Hi.
Oh, okay, Eric.
I think that Eric brought up a lot of different things, but three things that come to my mind very quickly is, if you're going to get into a mastermind, you have to have humility. You've got to be willing to open yourself up that there are other ways besides what you know in your own personal experience. Two is relationship is really important. And so he has a good relationship with his friend, but he's got the third thing, which is time. They've gotten time where you build a trust and a relationship and basically a reputation with each other. And, if you have time behind you, when something goes bad, you're given the benefit of the doubt. If there's no time behind you, it's really hard to make up when errors are made. So, I'm sure that they have a very forgiving and giving relationship all at the same time, which is kind of cool. And I mean, I have some friends that I talk to, three friends from when I was younger that are in completely different lifestyles and businesses as I am. And, they'll bring up my one friend I grew up across the street from, he runs a roller skating rink. And there are things that come up in his roller skating rink that I'll go, that's a really good point. It's something and here I am thinking, I could get into the high and mighty pose and say, you're just a skating guy, but he certainly comes across some unique problems that help open my eyes.
Love hearing that, Chuck.
Yes, I have, and because I want to, before Eric left, and he talking about one or two people in the mastermind group. Yes, one or two, it's easy to manage. However, we understand the power of the synergy, and like when you're talking one candle that light up the light, but if you have 50 candles, you can light up the whole room, or perhaps the whole area. And see, for me, I'm that I'm no nonsense, right? The people who go be in the mastermind, it have to be the generous giver and the excellent receiver. And they have to have the commitment, and and Chuck had mentioned the trust factors, because I don't easily, if you show up one and then you skip two and then you come back one, that is not tolerated by me. However, if, something happened, the trust factor in there, and if that person is not show up because they have damn good reason to, and that's the difference. But the mastermind group, it's not that a whole bunch of the people come together and want to do random thing. Those people have to have open-minded and want to accomplish something, to be better themselves, and to teach, to learn, and then to give and to receive. Right. And that's the power of mastermind.
Oh, you are so right. Spot on.
Thank you.
So what can happen is that over a period of time, a member gets sidetracked, and they're not an anchor so much as they're not a full participant. And it's part of the leader's job, moderator's job, to find out what's going on the side for the health of the group. Right? Mm-hmm. That it's not a call out. Sometimes you just don't call out in the meeting, but you have a private conversation, and that's when something's revealed that says, you know what, that's perfectly okay. Let's keep you in the group. Can I help you by adding that you might want to focus on here? You can still give to the group.
Yeah.
Things happening in life. How about you be the one that, because you're so good at this part, you be the one that always points out this. Mm. Just so that the group knows you really are there, so that you can feel like you're still giving. Because sometimes what can happen is personal things come up in life. The business suddenly gets upheavaled. You don't want to leave, but you're in the middle of this chaos, and it's difficult to focus. It's difficult to stay on track. And honestly, it can be difficult to care about somebody else's success when you're in the middle of all this, right? And so the conversations I've had with members over the years have been like that, where I've said, you know, it doesn't mean that you don't have anything to offer. You know, just don't sit quietly. You can't just sit quietly at every meeting. You have to participate in some way. So let's figure out one thing that you can focus on where you know you can add value. And sometimes it's a matter of, I'm really great at pointing out problems. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to call on you when somebody gets, you know, when somebody's presenting something or an idea, I'll make sure to call on you so that you have that opportunity to say, well, this is what I heard. And this is kind of problems I'm seeing with that. That's all you have to do. And that way everybody knows, because it's up to the individual to determine what details to share with the group, right?
Right. But I so appreciate the way you handle it, you know, to have the private conversation with that person.
Oh, yeah.
Perhaps something that they're not comfortable to talk with the group, but they will be able to share with you.
Oh, I had one once that told me, I just found out my husband had an affair. I was like, well, you're not bringing that up to the group.
Mm-hmm. No.
He said, no, I'm not. I said, that's not the point. The point is, let us be your anchor. Let us be your place to be grounded. You know, let us help you in that way by being what you need to get, you know, you can be distracted for that couple of hours that you're not caught up. And it's helpful.
Yeah,
so
they may be distracting, just like you just mentioned, or they lost interest, you know, and sometimes that by have the private conversation with them, you can let them the way out. Because, you know, when you're in a group, you have to be motor. You have to keep on moving. You just cannot be an anchor, because when you pull that and you're not moving forward, you know, you will just like get on everybody's weight. And, you know, if you're on the right track, but if you're not going, that I think that's a Roger or something, he said that then you get run by. But my father said, you know, if you stay in one place long enough, you will become a part of the scenery. So
yeah, that
becomes somebody.
Yeah. So there's a lot of dynamics happening there. We set the expectations in the formal ones that I run. The expectations are set. Mm. The informal one that I'm a part of is the one that there is a leader. It's part of my inner circle that I can grab onto informally, but they're my go-to people, you know. And sometimes we all meet together. You know, there's just a small handful of us. It's, again, I call it informal because we all know when we get together, we're there for a purpose. We're focused. It's a, you know, almost like a project-oriented thing where here's the problem, boom. And they can do the same with me. They can call on me to be a part of that type of group. Welcome back, Eric.
Hi. Start jumping in and out here. A question I meant to ask, and that is, when you do your mastermind groups, do you have a quote unquote agenda? You know, do you have a format that you follow, or is it, hey, we start at this time, we finish this time, let's just kind of riff here? There's
a format. There's not an agenda.
Okay.
So the structure is familiar to everybody, so they know what to expect when we get all together. The agenda is set by what's put forth to the group by the individual members. What can happen is that, and a member is told this, all of them are told this, that at any time between meetings, there is something in particular that you want us to talk about and really focus on, let me know. And I'll send the mass email to everybody as a prep that this is something that's on the table that we want to make sure gets on the table. But depending on the group, some groups we have actual hot seat time, where
the hot seat.
Yeah, where it is a lot about you and the group is really focused on helping you get through. And then we have like mini hot seats. It depends on the group and the way it's structured. Most of them are the mini hot seats because it is, for me, important that every member of the group have their time to present to the group for Q&A and assistance and getting through. Then I have another one that is all about learning. So group members present to each other, learning very specific things to grow the business. You know, it goes beyond who we are as people. And then in the midst of that, so I mean, there is kind of an agenda. That's the best way I can describe it to you. Sure. Then we have exercises to get you thinking as a business owner, to get you thinking a little differently. And those exercises you're put through, and then a discussion ensues of, well, what'd you think of that? You know, and there's always somebody like me that says, I can get crap out of it, I can get it. And then the rest of the group that says, well, this is what I got. And by the end, which is when I love, I have somebody like me in there that says, oh, now I get it. Thank you. You know, you can see the light bulbs go off. So
I think that,
again, it's to the benefit and health of the members of the group and what they need. You're a member when you understand the structure that's presented, and I allow you to come in and participate.
I think that Eric have a good question, because structure is very important. You know, start on time and end on time. That because I respect for everybody time. But you know, again, it doesn't mean that just like Charlene holding this, and after 1 hour she open for the open forum. Anybody can jump in and talk. And then you know, with the mastermind we can do that too. So. That is but again, I have to start on time and end on time, and have to have an agenda.
Yeah.
You just cannot go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there has to be structure for a formal one. There has to be, for it to really work. My experience has been there should be structure. So there's some of the formality. For those that are focused industry, I mean, you have industry related, you have career related, you have I just think you have to have a leader, moderator, and you have to have structure. What that structure looks like is dependent on who is the leader and how it's going to be utilized by the members.
When you
I have my way of doing it and what I offer, and that's the only way I teach or train. And that's why that online course, thank you for being a part of the beta group, by the way, those who are, is going to be based on how I do it, you know.
Yeah, you know, when I say rule and regulations, it's maybe a little bit harsh, but you know, the rule and regulations set out, and then that's easier, then people understood, and then you can exercise in that. But if you don't set it out and later on you just say, you know, you just cannot make up the rule along the way.
Right.
Everything have to set up front.
Yeah, and it's similar to having your own morning program and a live stream like this. You know, how many times have I been blabjacked? Maybe twice, right? And I allowed it as host, didn't see it coming, got involved, and realized later how disrespectful is that to people that I've set their expectations and didn't meet them. So that's why there are rules. That's why there are expectations set ahead of time by everybody. And that's why there's somebody that can help keep things in line so that we don't just become this free-for-all, because then it'll deteriorate quickly and it will end. People will walk away.
Yeah. Well, I can speak for myself anyways. Great job on this one, on this Morning Mindset Cafe. I've always feel when I come into the session here that it's going to be, as you say, it's going to have a format, not necessarily an agenda or too much. You know, it's a balance. You know, you allow some flexibility for people to riff, but also you have a format. So I've always felt that. So good job. And with that, I'm out again. We'll see you guys later. Maybe I'll be back.
Me too. I have to go. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Chuck, love that. Darlene, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
It would be interesting to know, for all the people listening, how many, and they could put in the sidebar, how many people actually belong to a mastermind group. Because, you know, it sounds like a great idea. And again, reiterating, this is how you win. Everybody here is here because they're looking at this Morning Mindset Cafe because they have in their mind a vision of what a win looks like for them. And this is how you win. Now, disclaimer, I'm not in any kind of structured formal mastermind group right now.
We're working on that.
We are working on that. My life is a little hectic, but that's just an excuse. That is not a reason. And, you know, a lot of people make excuses and not. So it'd be interesting. So there's somebody who's part of 2. But he was part of 3. You know, Sean, I'll be in Sean's mastermind group with you, Charlene, only if you're involved. But
well, now I don't know about that because I don't know that I'll be a part of Sean's. I got my own going.
Oh my gosh, busy. But again, the mastermind, it makes so much sense that if you can build a group where everybody trusts each other and nobody is there to knock anybody down or degrade them or make them feel lesser, you know, it's truly the home of constructive criticism. The way I look at it, you know, it's a criticism of what's going on and the goals you've set as far as accountability without making an attack on someone's character.
Personal.
Yeah, well,
there's also a need for everybody there. This is what's fascinating to me. It taps into the human need to help. Those who want to be a part of a mastermind, truly understanding what it is, really want to help. So when a problem is presented, they want to provide an answer. Now, I have to also tell you that it can be challenging as a moderator leader of a group, because sometimes they think there's a problem. The person hasn't presented it as a problem, but suddenly everybody's talking about this because I can help in this. I can help in this. Oh, wait a second, because I have to be able to discern whether or not that person was really looking for help in that specific area. So it is definitely a balancing act, and you got a group of people, where I personally think ultimately we're all gathering for something better. So it's difficult to be wrong. It's difficult to be harmful, but it is the leader moderator's job to make sure that the answers that the person's getting or the group is providing are really appropriate for what was asked. So that's a way to rein it in and keep it structured and organized for the benefit of the members.
And again, over time, you develop that relationship.
Oh, yes.
Where there's some integrity and things like that. So
and that's when you go deeper. And more is revealed, and the relationships happen, because then what happens is connections outside of the group happen. Sure. And you're connecting with each other individually, not as a group, but individually. There's people within the group that you've really sparked with and know to go to for clarification or what have you. So yes, it's awesome. It is. And I love the way you're saying it, Chuck. If you want to win, get outside of yourself and have a group help you. Whatever that group looks like, what works for you. I also want to put it out there, even though I'm a moderator and have my own groups, they're not a fit for everybody. Right. Just as those that are out there now, they're not a fit for everybody. So
you can't know it all, first of all, but you talk about tapping into that infinite intelligence. Somebody may tickle a little part of your brain that helps you tap into that creative intelligence or that infinite intelligence. Like I said, I have friends that, live a completely different lifestyle with me, have different businesses. One of my other good friends is a college coach, and he'll say something about his team, and I'll think about it, and it'll just tweak something in my brain, or vice versa. It'll tweak something in his brain. Oh, I'm going to do that. That makes sense. And if I modify it to this, and brings in 17 different things in the course of a 45-second thought, it's really what it is. It can be the grease on the skids. It can be the grease on the skids, very much so.
Yes, it's amazing when it happens.
Yeah, a very catalytic moment, I guess you could call it.
So we're reaching the top of the hour. I'm going to go ahead and close down the recording. I can keep the room open. Let me double check my schedule. I believe I can keep the room open for up to 45 minutes or so. Yes, I've got an hour or so that I can keep the room open. So be happy to have people jump into the seat and continue the conversation. But for now, I'm going to close out the recording so that those who are watching the replay, I can let you know we are closing it out. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank everybody who's joined me in the live stream and in the comment section, adding to this great conversation and discussion and interesting perspectives about what is that mastermind and can we benefit from it. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses.